It's the Hot Rod Podcast with Ron Foreman and Brady Wright. We literally live, eat, and breathe cars. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Make sure that you hit the subscribe and the like button, mash the notifications on so that you'll know every time we put a new show together and bring it to you here on YouTube. Time to get going. Let's see what's happening this week.
So Ron and his buddy are here today because we're getting close to Halloween, and we thought that today would be kind of fun. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Ron's got a project that we're going to talk about in a second, but the two main focuses of today is the Washington State Hot Rod Hall of Fame had their awards banquet just recently, and of course you're an inductee to the Hall of Fame. I know your jacket is somewhere close, but
yep.
It's pretty cool.
My plaque, my Washington State plaque is
giant
in a box because we had the plaque up to get the hell out of here because of the fire.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you
fire. So a lot of stuff is still packed, and I started a new shift.
Yeah,
it's been really kind of tough.
Yeah, your life has changed. Plus, you got a new project. But just on the show today, we got Marv Nielsen, who is the big cheese and kind of organizer of the most recent incarnation of the Washington Hot Rod Hall of Fame. We'll talk about all of the stuff that he's got going on. We also have a segment where you and I sat with the ladies from the Miss Shifters Hot Rod Club in Spokane. And
very enthusiastic group. Very enthusiastic.
You think?
They're awesome.
Just a little bit.
They're fun. They're a lot of fun.
They got inducted, and Rochelle Foster Stevens got inducted as Rodder of the Year. The club was Club of the Year. Big fun, and that's coming up later. But let's talk to Marv and see what's up with him, and we'll come back. So, as Ron and I said, we're here. Marv Nielsen is the guest tonight. Marv is the big cheese. I'm going to ask you for your official title, but Marv is the guy whose brainchild essentially was the Washington State Hot Rod Hall of Fame. How are you, Marv?
Doing good. Thank you, Brady.
Haven't seen you in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I miss you.
Well, you can come over to Idaho and see me anytime. It's only 300 miles.
I'd like to come over sometime once you get rolling.
You are welcome. Well, the whole reason that Marv is here tonight is because a couple of weeks ago, Ron and I went to the Washington State Hot Rod Hall of Fame annual banquet because one of the car clubs locally and one of the people in Spokane, which is real close to Coeur d'Alene where the show originates, was inducted into the Washington State Hot Rod Hall of Fame. Rochelle Foster Stevens from the Miss Shifters and her club Miss Shifters were inducted. Now, Marv, you and I go back a little ways. I produced car shows over in Seattle for years, and I've been coming to your banquet for 7 years at least anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, since you were also more or less in charge of every car show that ever existed out at the Triple X Drive-In in Issaquah, I've seen you.
That's correct, yeah. 26 years.
Yeah. So tell me, I know that Helen Meadows is going to be here pretty quick. I think she's having a little trouble getting in, I think. But until she does, give me some background on how the Hall of Fame kind of got started. I know it started and then stopped for a little while and then came back. So run that down for us here.
Okay, it started in 1986 with Joni and Walt Kaplan.
Right.
They just wanted to recognize the people that were prominent in the hot rod industry. The very first person inducted was our own wonderful Dick Page, the late Dick Page.
Yeah.
You don't get any better than that. And it went for a few years and then kind of lost favor and kind of dropped out, and less people were interested in it. And then look at my note here.
I can't find notes either.
Yeah, it was 2006. A gentleman by the name of Pat D'Ambrosio decided to start it back up again. So he called me and said, Marv, we're going to give an award to Jose at this party we're having. Would you be there? And I said, yes, I'll be there. So he sent the same message to Jose. They're going to have a party for Marv.
Got it.
Jose was the first person inducted in the new Hot Rod Hall of Fame, and I was the second. Yeah.
And the guy we're talking about is Jose Enciso, and Jose is the big cheese down at the Triple X Root Beer Drive-In in Issaquah. He's had 48 million car shows down there over the years, and he's a super supporter of the Hall of Fame. We know that. We've actually had him on the show too, and his son, and great bunch of guys, nicer people you'll never find.
Yes, yes. So it started, that was in 2007 when Jose and I were inducted, and it just went great guns since then.
Yeah.
We've got a great list of things we do for the Hall of Fame, such as the scholarships for the Lake Washington Institute of Technology.
Right.
We did 6 scholarships this year.
Nice.
And of course the auction that we had for your group over there in Spokane, the Miss Shifters. What a glorious bunch of gals that is.
Yes, they are.
They brought a lot of
shy and retiring, and understated, and all of that.
Yeah. Well, I was in the table right next to them, and every time something exciting come up, they'd all jump up and yell and hoot and holler.
Yes.
And it kind of permeated throughout the crowd.
Yeah.
That this is going to be fun.
Oh, they are a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun.
Well, we have, I kind of have a double purpose in having you and Helen on the show tonight, because one of the things that I always appreciated was how dedicated the Hall of Fame was to supporting the hot rod community. I mean, obviously you do a Hot Rodder of the Year, and you do a Club of the Year, and a Young Rodder of the Year, and all those awards. It's not, it's generated, it's a nonprofit organization, right? I mean, you guys don't sell anything to make all this happen. It's all donations.
Yes.
And that's, so when I was over there, when I was living in Seattle, I thought to myself, man, that's just a great thing to do. I wish I'd thought of it. But when we moved over here to Coeur d'Alene, I said, well, I'm going to get involved in the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame, because there's got to be one, and there wasn't.
Yes.
I said, well, I got to make one. So all kudos to you. I called up Marvin. I said, can I pirate some of your stuff off of your website? And he said, sure, take whatever you want. So I have no ego about this, whatever. Most of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame website is essentially plagiarized blatantly from the Washington one. I just changed the states and a couple of the stuff. And you know what? We got fully incorporated this year. We are definitely on the same path as you guys. We're planning on an awards banquet in the fall of 2023. And I was telling Marv off mic here before we got started, I just got with one of the local burger joints. They have a great big parking lot, and you're going to love the name. I mean, XXX Root Beer Drive-In is pretty cool. Let's just face it. But these guys are Killer Burger. Killer Burger. And it's a franchise. They got places in Portland and other places. In fact, I think their headquarters are in Oregon. They got a great place in Coeur d'Alene. And I'm telling you, these guys are all about it. And when I said, hey, what do you think about a cars and coffee sort of a thing? And they said, oh, we're in. Bring them. How many people? And I said, well, your parking lot will hold 60. Good. We can use the other parking lot right next to it.
Oh, great.
So he's all about it. And so our first one is coming up. Well, as we record this show, it's October. Our first one is going to be the third Saturday of this month. And we're going to take some pictures. I'll send you some just for fun.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah, it's just going to be great. And there's 3 colleges on one campus here in Coeur d'Alene. And I was also telling Marv earlier here, I got a contact down at the college. We're working on setting up a scholarship situation down there. So we're going to try to do the same thing that you guys are doing. But just like the Washington Hall of Fame is for Washington, the Idaho one is going to be for Idaho. I know that Rochelle Foster Stevens, I really love her. She's a wonderful person. Her club is just a bunch of hoots. In fact, my wife, Georgia, has applied to join their club. But I can't use her on the board because she lives in Washington. But I'm sure that she'll come to some of the events because they're only 5 miles away from us. So it should be a lot of fun. I did want to ask you, when you started doing the Hall of Fame, I know that the nomination process, it's not so much that the that the board members or the people that are involved with the hall do the nominating. It comes from the community, right?
That's right.
So you started by, telling people, okay, nominate who you want, but you have a form, you've got some questions that you want, some information that you need. How did you guys come up with that?
We told people that ask about how they nominate somebody, we said, okay, there's three portions to this nomination process. The first one is what you do for the hot rod community.
Right.
The second one, if you have any charity involvement whatsoever. And the third is community service.
Right.
So if you could make out a resume that has all three of those things in it, we're happy to look at it.
Sure.
Some people have different ideas about, well, that doesn't sound like community service. But we toss it around, we talk about it, we explain why it's this and why it's that, and then eventually we usually end up with 100% yay. Let's get them.
So nice. And so when you do that, you get together with the board or you do a Zoom call or something and you read everybody's nomination basically, and you come up with like who makes the most sense for this year. Do you do more than one per year? I mean, I know last year, though this most recent one you did because you didn't have any banquets during COVID.
Right.
But usually it's one per category per year, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's worked out really well because we've had a couple of people that have said, I don't think he meets the qualifications. And then I'll either call with more information about what this guy didn't know.
Right.
And say, oh, well, that's different. How come that's not on there? I said, well, it's just something that we knew. There's a lot of people out there that qualify hands down, and they don't put that in their resume. So that's what has to be included, everything.
It's hard, I think. I mean, anybody that's ever put together a resume to apply for a job knows it's kind of hard to talk about yourself. It's almost better if somebody else, can do that stuff, because I mean, most of us aren't as egotistical as me or you. It's hard to say nice things about yourself, or something like that. But just about everybody who's organized a car club or put on a car show or generated money for some charity or collected coats or food for something like that, they do those things and they don't expect any recognition for it.
That's right.
They do those things all the time, and that's the kind of person that makes sense to induct into a thing like this.
Yes, absolutely. We every once in a while we'll try to surprise somebody. In 2008, I got up and was talking about this fellow that does everything there is to do about the car show. Yep. And as I looked around the crowd, I could see him, and he was kind of straightening up a little bit. He knew it was him. And then I said, what a lot of people don't know is this fellow's a world-class skydiver, and his jaw about hit the floor.
Not me.
He says, oh, well, that's not me. So, but it was.
It was. Yeah, he was a Navy SEAL, and he's got all the, yeah.
I come back later, grabbed the mic and said, I was just kidding about the skydiving.
You got to have some fun. I mean,
that's right, exactly. Sure. And it has been fun, and I hope I do it for the rest of my life, because it's so rewarding when you see these people with, like this. I can't even talk about it. This gal that ran the Behan Crisis Center over there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tears in my eyes.
Oh, it was an amazing story. And it's hard to talk about someone who does that kind of charity. And the person we're talking about is the one who was generally recognized at the last awards dinner. Just an amazing story. And I mean, we can't go through it all here, but some of these people are inspirational at a level that, I'll never reach. And I'm just proud to be in the same room with her, and she was such a nice person on top of that, no ego, no nothing, just I'm happy to do it. She was there to serve, and as deserving a person as ever stood up on that floor, to take an award. That was just tremendous. You got a little teary-eyed there. You did.
Yes, I did. I did just now.
You did. Well, But before we go too far, and I keep expecting Helen Meadows to show up. She hasn't come yet, and she may just be having some difficulty to get in. But I don't want to go without her now. We know what you do, so give me a 5 seconds or so about what Helen does for the Hall of Fame.
We kind of split up the duties. She takes care of the finances. We ask people to send her the money for the dinner and the banquet.
Right.
She sends me the address and the amount of tickets, and then I do the tickets. You've seen the tickets, so
right.
And then I mail them out. So we kind of split up the duties, but there isn't a day go by that we don't
These
talk.
tickets right here.
Yeah, that's the one.
Those are the ones.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, they're real nice. Well, she's been involved as long as I've known of the organization, and I don't think you'll find a nicer person. She is as good as gold at everything she's ever done, and I see her 2 or 3 times a year, maybe. I mean, I always see her at the banquet. But if I call her, she always knows who I am, and she must do that for everybody because I'm not that rememberable necessarily. But she's really good at that. She's a great representative for the Hall of Fame.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She knows a lot more people than I do.
Yeah, but you know a lot more about bulldozers than she does.
That's true. I do that.
It's always
I'll
something.
agree with that.
Well, listen, I wish that Ron could have made it. The reason that Ron's not sitting here right this minute, which we talked about a little bit in the intro, is that Ron has changed shifts. So now he's working at the time we normally record this. So we're going to fix that. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that Ron, my co-host, he's actually a member of the Hall of Fame. And was it 3 years ago? He went in, something like that.
All right.
Yeah, and he's very proud of that. He won't say it, but he is. He's real happy to have been considered even. And I personally, I think he does a great job at the things that he does. So, I'm grateful that he's agreed to be the co-host here. But Marv, I really want to thank you for one thing. I want to thank you for letting me swipe all your good ideas to start the Hall of Fame.
You're welcome.
Here. And I as of this show, I hereby give you a standing invitation to any of our award banquets that we have. I promise that I will not have them on the same weekend that you do, so we can at least trade. I plan to come over there for those things, as long as I'm able. And Helen's invited too. I'll let her know for sure.
Well, as long as you're doing what you're doing with the Idaho State Hall of Fame, and to my ideal is to making everybody happy and contributing to the students, contributing to the charities, and having a good time and a nice meal. What else is there?
That's it. I mean, that's it. Yeah. Maybe have it early enough when there's still light. You can look at everybody's cars that they drove up. That'd be nice. Well, that's great. Well, Marv, thanks so much. I really do appreciate you stopping by. And I see trophies in the back there on your shelf behind you. You got nothing but awards all over your place. Look at you.
Yeah, and I got another one 2 Saturdays ago too that I didn't even know was coming.
You're gonna have to build a bigger trophy shelf.
That's it. Yes.
All right. Hey, Marv, thanks again. Have a great night. We'll send you a copy of this as soon as it rolls.
We'll be right back. The Hot Rod Podcast is sponsored by the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame, a nonprofit organization that recognizes and rewards men and women who actively promote the hot rod community, clubs, and builders all over the state of Idaho. Every year we award a Hot Rodder of the Year, a Club of the Year, and a Young Rodder of the Year, as well as giving out scholarship money to students in the auto trades programs at local colleges. If you want to know more, or if you want to nominate an honoree, go to idahof.org or email us at idahof@gmail.com. That's Idahof, IDAHHOF.org, or again, idahof@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Miss Shifters. Okay. Hey, so it's Brady and Ron from the Hot Rod Podcast with Rochelle Foster-Stevens from the Miss Shifters, who just won every single award.
He said Miss Shifters!
Every award in
the show. They got best club. They got best person. They got best dress. They got best pink hair. They got all of this stuff. We drove all the way from Idaho just to come and support them. And these women are incredible. It's a magnificent club. They do so much good work. They're a mere 5 miles from Idaho. If one of you lives in Idaho, you might be able to induct you into Idaho. Who lives in Idaho?
Heather.
Heather. Okay. All right. So that's a thing. That's a thing. But yeah, we drove all the way over here to see it. Ron came from the wilds of Gold Bar. And we just wanted to make sure we got a chance to say congratulations to you guys for everything that you've done. Thanks for driving all the way over here with us. We'll follow you back. More good stuff coming up. You're into cars, you love a good time, and you'd rather build it than buy it. You just might love the Rat Bastards. We're a family-oriented nonprofit organization. We believe in 1969 and older, in the rough is enough, real steel and iron, old school, traditional hot rods and rat rods. We get together, have fun, help each other build, and cruise like crazy, because that's the way car clubs are supposed to be. The Rat Bastards are a new class of old school, and our signature event is the Infestation every July. We're charter sponsors of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame. Join us at cruise-ins all over Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and the Inland Empire, or at our club in Seattle. We're on the Rat Bastards Car Club page on Facebook. Join us.
Well, that was crazy.
We're car crazy around here.
Yeah, well, the Misshifters, let's face it, they are a subtle, calm, unassuming sort of group. Yes, very, very demure.
I got as many tattoos on them as I do all over me.
No kidding. Well, pretty soon here, I'm coming over in December to get some more work done. So
right.
we'll trade.
All right. Cool.
Hey, it's always good to talk to you, buddy. We're gonna do a thing on your shorty project coming up, and of course we'll talk again next week.
That's it for this episode of the Hot Rod Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our show, and we appreciate it if you smash those notification buttons too, so you'll know when a new one drops. For Ron Foreman, I'm Brady Wright. This has been the Hot Rod Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.